put this off for a couple weeks by purpose, just because it's, I need to take a few weeks to rejuvenate myself before making another video again. But in any event, I am back. It's time, and as I promised, it's time to review 2013. Pretty much the same format I'm going to use as last year's. I'm going to go with the 10 worst teams, and then the 10 middle teams, and then the third part, the playoff teams. But let's get started with the crappy teams. First up, the Houston Texans, finishing the season at 2-14. What can I say about them? Everything went wrong for them. And there was a dumbass on here that said that the Texans were going to clinch the AFC South for the third consecutive season. Oh, fuck, that was me, wasn't it? God damn it, fuck. It's kind of fun. It's kind of funny. It's a little frustrating, but it was kind of funny at the same time. Because last year, before 2012 began, I had the Texans not making the playoffs. And guess what happened? They made the playoffs. And this season, I had the Texans clinching the AFC South again. But guess what happened? They missed the playoffs. And you know why they did it? Well, a lot of things happened to the Texans to get a 2-14 record. After a 4-12 season the previous year. Obviously the biggest decline, 1-year decline in the history of the National Football League. Or at least ties with it. And there was another team that resided in Houston that did that shit. The Houston Oilers. In 1993, they went 12-4. And of course, the following season, they went 2-14. And now, the Houston Texans do the same shit, and it happened in Houston. I mean, different stadium, but although it's right next to the old Astrodome. Let's just hope Houston doesn't make it. Let's just hope Houston doesn't move the team 2 years from now, something stupid like that. But in any event, but once again, there were a lot of things that happened. Of course, you lose all your star players. You lose all these players from starting back in 2012. I mean, you couldn't afford to sign Mario Williams, which is understandable. But then they trade away D'Amico Ryans for some stupid fucking reason. Yeah, they went 12-4, but when they started taking the Texans a little bit more seriously the following year, guess what? The Texans, they got overmatched. And of course, obviously, they fire Kubiak and bring in Bill O'Brien, aka the guy that got into a shouting match with Brady back in 2011, which I thought was pretty funny. No one's got the balls to get in a shouting match with Brady, for obvious reasons. But, and I like Tom Brady, so shut the fuck up. But, in any event, of course, Kubiak got fired mid-season, and Bob McNair's lame excuse, we got swept by Jacksonville. It was one thing if we were not talented and got swept by Jacksonville, I could accept that. But we were more talented than them, so therefore, obviously you weren't. Can we stop with this shit? They only have, 2, 3, 4, 5 good players that the Texans have. Granted, 5 could be enough, but, when you don't have a decent number 2 receiver or whatever the fuck. Oh, yeah, by the way, they waved bye-bye to Kevin Walter. Your tight end's starting to get older. Holy shit. What? Seriously, the only good players they have were Andre Johnson, J.J. Watt, of course, who obviously declined from 2012, Arian Foster, who's been hurt a lot, Ryan Cushing, who's also been hurt a lot. So there's 4 good players. Okay, Jonathan Joseph, but come on. So there's your 5 right there, but let's call it what it is. Texans were horrible. Now, to be fair, I did have the Texans clinching the AFC South. However, in my mid-season adjustments video, which I mixed in with my weekly picks or whatever, I got it right mid-season. with the Colts, clinching the AFC South. But let's move on. The Washington Redskins, 3-13, the worst record of Shanahan's career. I do find it pretty funny that not only does Shanahan get fired, but his former pupil gets fired in the same season. I kind of find it pretty hilarious. I really do. But it was obvious. What a shock. RG3 played like shit this year. Kind of what happens when you rush a player back. And of course, a lot of that is RG3's fault. RG3 tards don't like it when I say shit like that because, fuck you. How's that? Let's call it what it is. RG3 was the main reason why they were 3-13. Once again, he did not play a full season. And of course, the excuse was they were doing it for his health, but Shanahan just didn't want to state the obvious, and that was that RG3 fucking sucked. Okay, and if RG3 was not ready, then he should not have fucking. he should not have fucking said what he said on Twitter and all this bullshit. All right. But RG3, that's the thing about Shanahan. He does this shit constantly. He's gonna call a player's bluff. Just like he did with Haynesworth. People were bitching at Shanahan about the Haynesworth bullshit, which I didn't have a problem with. And he called RG3's bluff, and RG3 wasn't prepared. And I need to stop calling him RG3. I'll just call him Robert Griffin. All right. Fuck the Robert Griffin III bullshit. That's obviously spoiled rich man's mentality. It's usually rich guys that use the word the third after their last name. It's fucking annoying and bullshit. But I'm not gonna blame it all on RG3. Let's be realistic here. Their defense was fucking shit. Washington. Receivers are not as bad as everyone's making them out to be. Their defense fucking sucked. But how do you expect the defense to be a good defense when RG3 kept going 3 and out most of the time? Especially late in the season. To the point where he finally got benched. But the bottom line is this. RG3 has yet to play a full season. Last year, 2012 was because of injury, obviously. This past season is because he sucked. You still have to play at least halfway decent. And he didn't do that, bottom line. But, Shanahan, you think Shanahan really cared about wanting to stay in Washington after all the fucking bullshit with Snyder coddling him to the point where he couldn't be coachable? Get the fuck out of here. Any event, it is what it is. And now they have Jay Gruden, a rookie head coach. We'll see how he fucking does with RG3. But RG3 needs a lot of maturation. Oh, so RG3 tards, what do you think about your poster boy now? And I don't want to hear bullshit excuses. I don't want to hear crap about it's the offensive line. I don't want to hear that shit. Because at the end of the fucking day, he did not get the job done. Defense sucked too, but most of it is on RG3. So is he still a top 15 player for 2013 now? He's definitely not going to make the top 100 in 2014. At least he better not. And he won't because he fucking sucked this past season. Simple as that. Moving on. Jacksonville Jaguars, 4-12 with Gus Bradley. First year as head coach under his belt. The Jaguars, they need to do something with quarterback, and it could not have come at a perfect time. Schaub's. Listen, as much as I've criticized Schaub, a lot of this shit with Schaub was not entirely his fault. The team was pretty much dismantled. The Texans were, and then you got Mark Sanchez, which is an interesting one for me. Who knows? Obviously, Sanchez is going to get another chance. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, they need to take advantage of either getting a proven a veteran quarterback like Schaub or Sanchez, or drafting another quarterback to challenge Blaine Gabbert. Because let's be honest here, and yeah, Chad Henne was 3 times better than Blaine Gabbert was. The problem is Blaine Gabbert sucked so fucking bad. You know, Chad Henne, he just sucked less than Gabbert did. You know, obviously Maurice Jones-Drew is not coming back to Jacksonville. I think he's played his last game with the Jaguars. You never know, but I don't think he's like Shad Khan from the get-go. You know, and it happens sometimes. Some players with new owners just don't have good relationship or whatever the fuck. It's just part of life. It's just, you know, just like with your job and shit like that. It's just same fucking shit. But Jacksonville didn't do too bad despite the 4-12. You know, I like the direction that Gus Bradley's going in. Who knows? But it's still fucking Jacksonville. Just simple as that. It's still Jacksonville. Moving on to the Cleveland fucking Browns. Every year we go with this shit. The Browns are gonna get better, and then they fall flat on their fucking faces. To the point where their faces get trapped inside of their fucking assholes. Holy shit! What a clusterfuck that 2013 Browns team was. Just like all of the Browns teams since 1999. Oh, and once again, they finished last place in the AFC North. They always finish south of the North. You know, kind of the opposite of the Indianapolis Colts. They finish north of the South. Yeah, a little bit of stupid humor, but whatever there. It's free entertainment. Just go with it. But yeah, the Browns, once again, another shit season. And yet it still has some it has some promise. That Browns defense got a little better, got a lot better. Of course, Kruger still fucking sucked. At least his first year of his new contract, since he got picked up from Baltimore. Of course, the draft picks that Banner and Lombardi got, they were fucking disasters. Of course, I mean they did have some Pro Bowlers, but none of them were drafted by Lombardi or Joe Banner. And thank fucking Christ, quite frankly, that both Lombardi and Joe Banner are going to be fucking gone. You know, after this past season and all the fucking bullshit, I mean, the only good decision that Joe Banner made was trading away Trent Richardson. Of course, people are going to be bitching, Trent Richardson never had a good quarterback, he never had a good offensive line. No team has good offensive lines. How many fucking teams really have a good offensive line? Don't give me the Broncos, don't give me the fucking Seahawks. The Seahawks, despite winning the Super Bowl, did not really have the best offensive line, mainly because their offensive line got fucking hurt. Sorry, I'm talking too fast now, but whatever. But, you know, and their receivers. I'm liking their receivers. But back to Trent Richardson for a moment. Look what he did with the Indianapolis Colts with Andrew Luck, a proven quarterback. You know, Jack Diddley fucking shit. Oh, the Colts offensive line sucked too. I get all that. But what? You know, he was supposed to be the man. I'm sorry, you're the number 3 overall pick. And you only averaged 3 yards a carry this past season? Can we stop with this shit? Jesus Christ. Stop shedding tears for him. But hey, they got a damn good receiver in Josh Gordon. You know, their receiver core is not that bad. They just need that quarterback. The Browns also need to take advantage of the opportunities of the fact that both Sanchez and Schaub are going to be gone. You know, Schaub needs a career booster. He needs a change. You know, of course, Schaub and shit weather in Cleveland. Though, yeah, you would think he'd be better off with Sanchez because he's played at least 4 years or 3 years, whatever, in that type of environment with New York. Whatever there, moving on. The Raiders, holy fucking Jesus, 4-12. I thought this team was going to be better than people thought. Obviously not, because they went 4-12 once again. The quarterback problems were obviously problematic. Whatever. Yeah, just problematic. Probably the least talented roster in the National Football League. I mean, their fullback's pretty good, Reese. Even though I did catch him doing this one time against the Chargers. Trying to catch the football, but he was trying to catch the ball like this. Seriously, who catches the ball like this? But in any event, Oakland's defense, they started falling apart. I believe. Yeah, it was their defense that started falling apart. I mean, they did good. I mean, they were doing good early on, but then they started falling flat on their fucking faces. Then the switch to Terrell Pryor to McGloin back to fucking Pryor, obviously setting him up for failure, and it nearly backfired on the regular season finale against the Broncos. But of course, Terrell Pryor, he did not fucking quit. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I'm still 50-50 on him. But let's move on quickly. The Atlanta Falcons. Oh, damn. And I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought the Falcons were going to make it to the Super Bowl. I thought the Falcons were going to win this year, obviously, but holy shit. Obviously, that backfired. Wow. Talk about your dumbass predictions. This was probably the stupidest one I've ever fucking done. Obviously. But of course, and what a sour way to end Tony Gonzalez's career. Which, it's too bad. You talk about a player that actually deserved to win a championship. Tony Gonzalez. One of the more classy guys in the National Football League. Just a class act. Just like Brian Urlacher. Those were players that deserved the Super Bowl rings, and they never could get them because of stupid bullshit circumstances. It sucks. Obviously, Tony Gonzalez is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah, I said it. First ballot Hall of Famer. When you break all the records, and I believe he was second in the NFL in receptions overall. I could be wrong there. Not just by tight ends. Come on, man. The fuck. Anyway, sorry, my computer's dying once in a while, but every once in a while I gotta reboot it. But in any event, yeah, of course, Matt Ryan finally fell apart. The clock struck midnight on the Atlanta Falcons. Simple as that. I don't know what else is there to say about that. Obviously, they got rid of some players to free up some cap space, which is obviously, of course, they got rid of Asante Samuel. Of course, guess who's back in the GM side of things, or at least assistant GM side of things this time around? Scott Pioli. But of course, he'll be taking orders from Thomas Dimitroff. But they need to create depth on that team. That was the biggest problem. Injuries, but obviously injuries, but they needed to create some depth. That's got to be the focus in 2014. Plus, making it back to the postseason. It's just simple as that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't know who their head coach is now. Lovie Smith, that's who the fucking coach is now. After, of course, firing Greg Schiano. Now, again, last year, let me get more into yes, I was for Greg Schiano going hard on kneel downs, but now I gotta go against that. It was a year ago, so it wasn't like I was just flip-flopping back and forth immediately bullshit. This was, it took me more than a year to realize how stupid I was for fucking saying that. It's just, it's a respect thing. You're not going to do anything. You never know what would have happened, but then again, you just don't. It's a respect. It's just a respect thing. That's why Tom Coughlin got chewed out. Shiano, after that Giant game in 2012. That was 2012. This past season, he completely lost the team. Even Darrelle Revis started speaking out against him. That then had to backtrack, of course, but you know, the bullshit that he said, but, well, it wasn't bullshit. It was the fucking truth. And of course, the only good decision he actually made was benching Josh Freeman, but then the stupid decision was that they cut Josh Freeman, which means they still had to pay him whatever roster bonus that they fucking had to pay him because they released him. It wasn't like Josh Freeman wanted to quit the team. I mean, get the fuck out of here with that. But hey, I like Mike Glennon, but I hope Lovie Smith learned his lesson from Jay Cutler, and hopefully let the offensive guys handle the Mike Glennon, because I think Glennon has true potential. I'm not saying that to be different. I'm saying that because it's the fucking truth, in my eyes anyway. Well, it's not the truth, then shut up. I don't care. You know, just a lot of shit happened. Their number one receiver, Mike Williams, of course, out with injury. Of course, injuries happen in the National Football League. You know, I hope Lovie learned his lesson. That's all. I'm just leave it at that. Speaking of the Vikings, speaking of Josh Freeman anyway, the Vikings 5-10-1. That one tie happened against the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau, with of course Aaron Rodgers being out, but still no excuses there. Of course, along with a lot of other people who are not Viking homers, knew that the Vikings were going to fucking fall flat on their face, and fall flat on their face they did. Holy shit. Then, of course, they should have... but can I be fair here? They should have... Once Ponder went down, I don't care how bad Castle played, they should have stuck with Castle. Because when they signed Josh Freeman after Castle had a bad game, that was the dumbest decision. It cost Leslie Frazier his job, rightfully so. Of course, Mike Zimmer's now the head coach there. I mean, holy shit. You can't just, I said this earlier, you can't just sign a quarterback mind you, to a new system and expect him to learn the playbook just like that. This is not the NBA here, or the NHL, or Major League Baseball. This is still the National Football League. Playbooks will always be complicated because not every playbook is the same. It's just simple as that. And Peterson, of course, didn't get anywhere near the 2,000 yards. It's obviously near Eric Dickerson's record. I don't know how many yards he ended up with, but I'm sure it's still a lot, but still. Obviously not 2,000 yards, once again. But you know, it was a shit season. Of course, so long to the Metrodome. They'll be playing at TCF Bank Stadium, which is an open-air stadium. I don't predict good things for the Vikings because their next stadium, their next real stadium, which opens in 2016, will be inside a dome. So why would you build a team for outside record for 2 years, for outside weather in 2 years, just to have them play in a dome again? Makes no sense to me. But then again, you never know. It could actually toughen them. Just my take on it. And Buffalo Bills. You know the deal with Buffalo. They've now missed the playoffs. Once again, 99 still remains the last time the Bills made the playoffs. That's a long fucking time, dude. You know? Of course, they had to let go one of their... And of course, I forgot about the Cleveland Browns situation, firing Rob Chudzinski, being completely fucking stupid, and just firing after one season. I totally fucking nearly spaced out on that. But of course, Buffalo loses their defensive coordinator to Cleveland. Mike Pettin let's see how they do. Hopefully they don't fire him after one fucking season. But hey, whatever there. But back to Buffalo for a moment. They didn't do too bad. I believe they were among the leaders in sacks, if I'm not mistaken. Don't know the exact number, but I don't give a shit at this point. Yeah, don't expect me to go in the numbers when I do this shit, because this video is way too long as it is. But all I can say is EJ Manuel did not play as well as everybody made it out to be. I thought he played worse. I thought he played worse than Geno Smith. And Geno Smith had a lot of turnovers, but still, EJ Manuel did not impress me for a guy who was the first quarterback taken in 2013. I'll just leave it at that. Who knows? He'll get better. I think he'll get better. I hope he'll get better. Like I said, I don't hate the guy, but Thaddeus Lewis actually played better than him. And the Detroit Lions. Oh, God. Once again, picking in the top 10. Yeah, now I'm going to say top 10 because just to fuck around. But, you know, it's kind of sad that you had all the shit aligned perfectly for the Lions. No Cutler, no Aaron Rodgers, and yet they still fucking blew it at the second half of the season. Losing all those games, blowing the fucking game. You could argue, holy shit, that heartbreaking 62-yard field goal against the Ravens that they gave up. Holy shit, what do you do about that? Since it was at sea level, of course. But losing to the Giants the following week, which was a Giants team that really wasn't good, obviously inexcusable. Giants were obviously better than they were, but still. Wow. Just what else is there to say? The good news is that at least they didn't overpay guys like Calvin Johnson and Ndamukong Suh and what's that quarterback? Oh, Stafford. Oh, wait a minute. They did overpay those guys. That's why they're the Lions. But hey, Ken Whisenhunt is not there. Jim Caldwell is. You know, there was a reason why Ken Whisenhunt decided not to go with the Lions. You know, who knows? Stafford might not be as coachable. You never know, but let's give Jim Caldwell another chance. He did do a good job in relief of Cam Cameron in 2012, which of course led the Ravens to a Super Bowl title. Or whatever the fuck. This vid is way too long. I told you, expect these vids to be way too long. Part 2 coming up.